Hey guys, so sound's not great on this one. So how about you be generous in this holiday season and suck it up and enjoy this lovely episode with comedian Bronwyn Isaac. Case study 0045. Love at the Christmas table. When Sam first met Kat, it was love at first bite. That does not sound right. Bronwyn, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I feel like I am a snowflake, but not in a conservative calling
Mhm.
people snowflake way, and not in a like special way, just like a melty, cold piece of air substance right now. I'm not sure what that constitutes as doing well or not doing well.
Yeah, it seems pretty neutral, if not kind of bad. But if you're good with it, I'm cool with it.
I think it's pretty neutral. I'm cool with it. I
Okay,
like
good.
being part of the weather pattern.
That does sound nice.
How are you?
I'm doing good because we watched a movie. Let's
That's
talk
true.
about it.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, present day. This movie, BT Dubs, is called Love at the Christmas Table, 2012. I mean, I added 2012. That's what it was made.
It's very 2012.
It is. It is very every year that it was, twice at least.
That's true. There were a lot of years that were covered in this movie. A lot of span. The passage of time is a big character in this movie.
It is. And I kind of love that. Like, I
Me
was
too.
afraid that I was going to get stuck in one year and it would be boring and I'd have to care about the rest of the year, but I didn't have to care about the rest of the year. I just had to care about Christmas, and I'm all about it. So Sam gets home after 5 years of being away. That means absolutely nothing to me because the movie just started.
Exactly. And the movie is like, oh, I bet you want to know what this is all about. He gets there and, everyone's like, oh my God, big city guy is back, because this is one of those movies, right? Dustin
It,
Milligan is big city guy. And then Danica McKellar is all like, it's been 5 years, and she like hits him on the arm in that like playful way, but you're like, oh, okay, they have history, especially because he's all like, and there she was, Kat Patton. And
yeah.
like you see her and she's like carrying a Christmas tree, because in these movies they love to have somebody carrying a Christmas tree at all times.
You have to. Without it, we wouldn't know it was Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. They got to prime us up for the vibe.
Exactly. When he pulled up in that taxi, they did a really long take on the license plate. And I was like, am I stupid? Is that a vanity plate and I can't read it? I don't think, no.
Yeah, I also was like, this is a really slow entrance in a specific way. Is there something significant about the car? And based on the rest of the movie, no.
No.
This was just a choice they made.
It was a very long choice they made. Yeah, so he hasn't been there in 5 years. And let's take a look at their history. 1984. Also, EB is the woman that he first sees when he walks in the house. And we are introduced to her as this is her house. It's a Christmas house all year round. And that's all we get. And I thought through half of this movie, that was his mom.
I thought that was really confusing too, because when it opens and he's like, it's the first time he's back in 5 years, and, it's Christmas time, and he's saying, I'm going to see the family. And then Leah Thompson's there. And then he's like, she owns the house. I was like, is this his family's landlord? What's going on?
Yes.
And then throughout the rest of the movie, you realize, no, this is just her house. She's just like, a family friend who hosts a bunch of people from this small town. But we never know what she does for work.
And she's got a huge ass house too.
I was like, she makes money, or that was a family house or something, and I want to know.
Same. What the fuck?
Exactly.
So, 1984. 4-year-old Sam and at least Kat is 4.
Yeah, I was like, is he 5?
I know.
Does it matter?
It doesn't. It really
It
doesn't.
doesn't, but they do give us all of the ages, like they
Yeah,
them through their childhood. So it does feel like, in childhood that matters, maybe not later.
absolutely. They let us know that Kat's mom died this year and her dad started a furniture company with his dad, right?
Yeah. So like their dads run a furniture company, which is very successful because later in the movie we find out that it's shipping internationally. I had
Mhm.
questions about that the entire movie. I was like, okay, so if this is a really small town, how many people
Mhm.
are buying furniture there? They must
Yeah.
be shipping on the internet.
Right. And there was no internet in 1984. So the fact that they were successful long enough to do that, cheers.
Yeah. Do you think they were like driving like to nearby cities?
Yeah, doing trade shows.
Totally.
Here's the biggest question I have about them owning a furniture company. When they first get there, they are bringing in a little tiny kids' table and they're looking at it and they're like, well, it's our first one. We'll get better. How do you own a furniture company if you've never built furniture before? Because that's what they do. They build furniture.
Yeah, I don't understand that. And I also just love a furniture store is such a specific thing to do.
Hmm.
And so to be like, I am grieving, I will do this really intense craft and like all the sides of it, the business, the building, all of it. It's not like, oh, I got into, I don't know, I decided to learn how to knit at home or I went to one cooking class. It's like, I'm going to start a really complicated business.
Right. One I'm completely unfamiliar with, but I'll get the hang of it
How hard can
eventually.
it be?
I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, it's wood.
Yeah, exactly. You're not gonna hurt yourself.
No. So Sam immediately goes under the table and starts drawing, and Kat joins him. Adorable.
Very cute.
Yeah.
And they like fall asleep later, because it's the holiday. They like this like the two little kids like falling asleep on the bed or the couch. So it's like, oh, look at how cute
Yeah.
they are. And also I love that Kat's mom is dead. We don't know shit about her. Like, how did she
No,
die?
we never learned shit about her either. She was a womb. That's all she was good for.
She was a womb, and it's the worst of both worlds because so many of these movies have a dead mom character and like it's not really talked about. But this one, she's kind of a presence just through the grief aspect, but we don't get anything that personalizes her.
I like that you say that these movies have a dead mom character as if they're like present in the movies and their characters. I know that's not what you meant, but it was fun.
No,
Age 10.
yeah, like they're on the list of characters.
Yeah. No one plays her, but it's fine. Age 10, they steal a rum cake and get wasted, or at least pretend to, because there's no booze in that cake.
Which honestly, pretty accurate. I feel like as a 10-year-old, you'd be like, okay, I guess I'm drunk.
Yeah, this is exactly what my parents do when they get drunk.
Yeah. Eat cake and giggle.
Right, and stumble. Age 13. Sam is trying to talk to Kat. She could care less. He goes in for a kiss and she stabs him with a fork.
Yeah,
Brutal.
okay, the stab. So, like, it's weird that the movie cuts from like they're 10 and they're getting along to like they're 13 and he's going in for a kiss. I understand like they're going through puberty now, so he's like, "Oh, I have a crush on you. I'm going to try to do something about it." But it feels like there's a lot left unsaid because it goes from like their best friends to her being like, "I hate you."
Yeah, right?
And I was like, I totally get that she might not be into him and she's 13 and he's annoying and,
Sure.
but like she stabs him with a fork.
Right.
Also, how bad were the stab wounds? Like I love that the
Thank
family's
you.
just like, oh well, you know,
Kids.
kids. I guess he tried to kiss her and she stabbed him. I'm like, either way doesn't look good.
No. And the placement of that stabbing kind of looked like she stabbed him in the dick, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Which brings me to another point about this movie. Super fun, to me anyway, how they really tried hard to make it seem like they wanted to swear a lot. You
Oh my
guys,
God, yes. Yeah, because
adorable.
like throughout the movie, there's this swear jar
Yeah.
that, of course, EB keeps at the Christmas house. But then even when they're adults, they'll be like swear jar, like if one of them is gonna swear. And that, like, I thought it was funny when they were younger, but when they were adults, I was like, if an adult said swear jar to me, I would get
Say
violent.
it louder.
I would be like, I cannot do this.
The fucking what now?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
thank you. Okay, good. Thank you. Age 18. Kat said she goes to talk to Sam, who is reading a book. 5 years later, teenagers love books, but he's like sitting on the counter. Okay, so I had this image in my head as a younger person that the really cool girl, when she's just home doing stuff, whatever, was usually sitting on a kitchen counter and like eating carrot sticks and talking about real cool stuff. And that's what I thought about Sam in this scene. I was like, he's like a manic pixie dream boy in this scene, but only for like a minute, just because he's sitting on a counter.
Oh, absolutely. Because he's sitting on the counter and then she even makes fun of his jacket. Like he has like kind of this 70s almost blazer jacket. It's like, oh yeah, he definitely thrifted for it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he's at college now, so he's like really into books.
yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, I like to read. I'm into ideas.
Have you ever heard of Charles Bukowski?
Yeah.
Because
I bet she hasn't because she hasn't left that town. So where would she find a book?
I know, right? They don't have them there.
Yeah.
So Sam's like, you don't even like me. Fuck you. Go, whatever. And she's like, you know what? Fuck you. I do like you. And it's the sweetest, I guess. I don't know. They decide to go watch Christmas movies and do whippets, I guess.
Yeah, they did whippets, which was definitely like the most festive part for me. I did like that even in this scene where it's supposed to be like him expressing vulnerability by saying, oh, well, you don't really like me, so like whatever. And then her correcting him. You find
Yeah.
out all this horrible stuff they've done to each other.
Yeah.
She like dated 3 of his friends and then turned them against him, which we never really ever find out. I'm like, that's a big deal. What did that mean? Like,
Yeah.
was he being dramatic? Was that not a real thing? That's a big thing. Also, who are they? We don't see him have any friends.
Never.
Instead of being like, I shouldn't have done those things, I'm sorry. She's just like, well, actually, I helped set you up with Ashley, this girl who I'm friends with, but apparently hate because I'm like weird to her the whole movie.
She's quite vacuous, though.
She is annoying. She's very annoying. But I was like, what is the point of this character? Like they
Yeah.
like it's just like none of us like her.
No. The worst.
Yeah, she's like, I set you up with Ashley and she showed you her tractor. So I was just like, this is not a great you're 18, so it's realistic, but this is not like a great reconciliation.
No. And yeah, absolutely. They're teenagers, so whatever. But at the same time, not only just that history, but like going on, she's a little abusive. They both are. They're not great people either.
Yeah, they're definitely like, I really love them as actors.
Yeah.
So I have fun watching them, but I was like, this is not a good couple.
Oh, you guys are not in a healthy relationship at all.
Toxic, like in so many different ways at once.
And thank you, because it was entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, if it had been really healthy, then I don't know how much it would have really been to watch.
They end up finding a movie and they're watching it, and the closed captioning said old timey Christmas movie playing, which I really liked. Old timey, not like old. Love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's way better than like classic.
Yes, so much better.
Old timey's like kind of got some like oomph to it.
Absolutely. So they're getting snuggly and they pass out because they've been doing whippets and eating rum cake. Were they eating rum cake in this one too?
I just assume that there's rum cake that they're going to eat in like any given year. That's got to be part of it.
It's got to be.
I like to think that even when they're adults, they don't realize it's not getting them drunk.
Yeah, they pass out for no reason. Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to know, now this is a thing that a lot of these movies do with the like going back through time.
Mm-hmm.
They have actual children play them at ages 4 and 10, 13. Mm-hmm. And then from 18 on, they're supposed to play their younger selves. This movie did not try to style them. Like it did the least legwork. And these are like grown ass people. They're both very attractive actors, but Danica McKellar is 47 and Dustin Milligan is 37.
Yeah, there's no yeah.
When it's like they're 18, I was like, could you at least like make their outfits more ridiculous or something? Like, I know I can suspend my disbelief, but the movie did not style them very different throughout the years, and that bothered me.
Yeah, no, they did not at all try. They were just like, "No, no, we just told you how old they were. Shut up and watch it."
Literally, I was like, this is very lazy. Also, with a festive movie, one of the most fun things is costuming. You
Yes.
really get into it and get into like this is 80s clothes, 90s clothes, you know?
Oh my god, so much so. And even the fact that it was Christmas and these were Christmas parties, like only half of the outfits were Christmassy. I'm like, "Go over the top. This is what we're here for."
Absolutely. And like everybody in the town that goes to Evie's house is very into Christmas. Like this is like people who love it. So
Yeah.
they're gonna have some sweaters, okay? There's gonna be some
Yes.
outfits and I want to see them.
Absolutely. And yes, I would assume that Evie, of all people, would have a mandatory dress code for her parties.
Oh
Come
yeah,
dressed for Christmas or don't come at all.
absolutely.
Bitch. So
Yeah.
then they pass out watching these movies and their dads like sneak up behind them and like, oh, are they making out? Blah, blah, blah. So they go to surprise them and they realize they're asleep. So they're like, oh, fuck yeah, this is gonna be dope. And they basically did the equivalent of drawing Christmas sticks on their foreheads. They were like,
Yeah, it's like they have
uh-huh.
Feliz Navidad, like on their foreheads. And then like one of them has reindeer antlers and the other has like a Santa beard. And I mean, honestly, it was kind of like it was corny in that way where I was like,
Uh,
okay, I believe that these characters would do that.
yeah.
And then the
No,
next day they're just like, wow, so we should go talk about what happened, which is falling asleep. Which again, they're
right.
18, so I
Uh-huh.
do believe that. They'd be like, our hands touched. We got to figure this out.
Absolutely. And yes. And they're like, so what did she say? She was like, so you're gonna be back next year or what? And he's like, oh, it depends. And she's like, on what? Us? And he's like, he would not even hug you. And you're asking about us? Bitch. That's
I
not how this
know.
works.
I know. And it was also like, do you even like him or are you just upset that he's not into you anymore?
I mean,
Right? Like, one of my issues with the characters, and I'll get into this more once we're fully up to date, is that neither of them seem to respect each other at all
mm-mm.
in totally different ways.
Aside from just respect, the only time they ever communicate is at Christmas, at a Christmas party. And okay, you know what? We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot. There's a lot
Yeah,
to peel back.
so fucking much. Age 19. Sam is pretending to be boring, so Ashley will leave him alone. Kat says that she's newly single. They do a weird, what appears to be drinking game with children and juice boxes, and I have no idea what's going
And they
on.
have an ice fight. I was like, why are they having an ice fight? And it's like
That's at
almost
age
a
20.
yeah, and it's like almost a montage. Also, I do love, I feel that this is both realistic and a funny choice that there are just always roaming children and we like never know who they are. Like every year at Christmas, there's just like a new kid that they're kind of hanging out with.
Yes, who
And
are
like
these
there's
kids?
no like they don't really get enough screen time for them to actually be characters. It's just like, oh, there's another kid.
Right,
Yeah,
because
they
if
have
they
like this
brought him back, they would have to age, and that's not going to happen.
exactly. So like yeah, they have this ice fight
Mhm.
and then like Evie comes in and she's just like tisk tisk and she hands them a mop and I'm like, okay, when is this woman going to get mad at y'all for trashing her house?
Right, but also unnecessary. Like
Yeah,
she walks in with two mops, and she's just like, "You guys."
you silly kids.
Before that snowball fight, which was fully an ice fight, he says, "What is best in life?" to one of the boys, and the other kid says, "Christmas." And then Kat's like, "Hold, hold. This was too intense for this movie." And then Sam says to another kid, "Milo, what is best in life?" And Milo says, "To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women."
Yeah, that last part, I was like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah,
What video games is this kid playing?
yeah. I appreciate it. I get it was for like the joke, but I still appreciate it.
Absolutely.
21. It's clearly the year 2000 because they're sitting at the adults table and all the adults are like, "Oh, I can't even hear about another hanging Chad. Oh my God, did you hear about Wilson the volleyball in that one movie? Hey, did you ever watch that one reality show where they're on an island and they vote people off? You guys."
It's really funny because they're not doing the work for the costuming, like we said. And the writing is really interesting in this movie because it does really take advantage of the time jump some years, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, here's a chance for these jokes and these references, but not consistently. And that's what's funny to me is it's like sometimes it's very like, oh yeah, Florida, what's happening with the re-election? Okay. And then other times it's just kind of like, what year is it again?
Yeah, no,
Because
it's just like
again, these
you're
two
older.
actors are their actual age while they're playing. So
I wanted more of the like, hey, nudge, nudge, can you believe what crazy year it is right now? In every single age, but no.
same. I wish there was like a really VH1, this week in pop culture kind of joke at every Christmas. I was ready for that.
Yes, that would have been beautiful. But and the fact that they did it for this year and this year alone, they never do it any other year. It
Yeah,
just
they're just like, okay, Y2K. Everyone remember?
remember how we all thought our computers were going to go crazy? That was nuts.
Yeah, we had no idea what the future would hold.
I think this is what, yeah. Sam and Kat are listening to the adults talk about boring 2000 stuff, and they sneak under the table and they're like crawling between sets of legs on each side. And I'm going to call 100% bullshit on this right now. If you go underneath the table, first off, people are going to notice. Second off, you are not going to be able to crawl between two legs, let alone 2 by 2, crawling between two. You guys, we're
Yeah,
not stupid.
I was angry. I was actually like angry at that part. I was like, fuck you, movie. Like, I get that you're trying to do a callback to like, they like to get under the table as kids and, but like these are adults and a bunch of people are there and they would notice that they're not there and they're going to feel these creepy adults under the
They
table.
were,
Also, it's just so creepy.
yes, and they were literally rubbing up against their legs. There's no fucking way. And then they
And the
pop off.
movie like has a joke where Kat's dad farts while they're under the table. And I was like, sure. I mean, I guess. Is this really worth it?
That was the whole movie was just set up for that scene.
Yeah, it really was.
They pop out at the end of the table and like, whoop, we're just walking. Nobody noticed that we did that. You guys, you're not fooling anyone.
Yeah. It was so also like even at that age, even being that young of an adult, I can't imagine being like, oh, this is a fun, cool idea. My bully instincts were ignited by this movie at certain times. I was like, y'all are embarrassing.
Absolutely. Next year, 22, I think. Yeah, age
This is
22.
when it gets spicy.
Yeah, it does. Sam's talking to his dad and he's like, I think I'm moving home. And his dad is like, stop being an idiot and do this job that you got hired for that is awesome. You just want to come home because you're bored and you want to make stupid shit. Like, however, he said it all like, oh, sweetie, blah, blah, blah. He was very, very nice about it. And Sam gets so fucking offended. He's like, you're not the boss of me. I'm an adult now. Fuck you, or whatever you're saying. Something like that. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Like his dad says, you're not wired for contentment. You're just getting into the job that you want and you have this opportunity. And now you're like trying to look at other options and run away from it. It is one of those moments where it's like, sure, yeah, maybe that's a hurtful thing to hear. But his dad is just being honest. He's not saying it with judgment. And,
No.
very realistically,
Yes. And I
very
would say,
realistically, very reactive response of like, fuck you, dad, I'm an adult.
yeah, that's true. He was way nicer than he had any right to be, his dad.
The parents like are so gooey and nice. Also, I think it's really funny that Kat's mom is dead.
Yeah, it is hilarious.
Super funny. But like Kat's mom is dead, but then Sam's mom is alive, but we don't really see her. Like, she's there, but we don't really even, I don't even know actually who she is until like halfway through the movie. And then I'm like, oh, that woman is his mom. And
Yep.
his dad's not like a super main character, but we definitely know who he is. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what is with this weird like mom erasure, especially in a Christmas movie?
Right.
Moms run Christmas. Moms
Thank
are
you.
Santa.
Thank you. No, up until like the last third of the movie, I had no idea who his mom was. I was pretty sure it was Evie, but it absolutely was not. And then his dad kept referencing this other woman, and I was like, oh, that's probably his mom. But we get no like even taste of that until like the last third of the movie. And then it's just like, hey, good to see you, son. I'll be over there.
Yeah, exactly. That was so strange to me because again, this is a movie that's very about family, the idea of family.
It's about
And
dads.
and then it's like, actually it's just dads who have a furniture store and that's all that matters.
Yes, carpentry and dads. End.
Exactly.
Mhm.
What else is there?
Nope. Yeah, they have a little conversation. He's like, I'm thinking about moving home. And Kat's like, fuck you. I'm not a rest stop. Go do your job. I don't care. Fair.
Exactly.
Age 23.
This is when the first true wedge is thrown between them, except for the stabbing, right?
Right.
The stabbing is kind of like, neither here nor there.
Mhm.
But this time, we have the moment where Sam and Kat see each other and she's kind of like, oh, hey. And then like behind him walks his girlfriend, Rebecca.
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
she's fancy, he met him at a UN event because she's a translator and he was
Right.
writing an article and like she speaks 11 languages and she's very pretty and she's very
Mhm.
nice. And so of course Kat is all like feeling humiliated,
Of course.
which I guess, sure.
Bronwyn, of course.
I'm like, you see him once a year. Like I totally understand. Like I understand you being disappointed, but the way that she's
Right.
just like, this is an affront to me that he brought his girlfriend to Christmas. I'm
Right.
like, if you really liked him, you do have internet now. You could email or
Mhm.
something and you would
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
know he had a girlfriend.
You guys don't have Facebook? You guys don't have like Instagram? What?
Right?
What?
Well, they
It
wouldn't let her on Facebook because she's not in college because they made it very clear that she's in the
Fair.
town and he's in the city.
That's right. That's right. They're right. They don't have the broadband in the little town that they're in.
The internet hasn't arrived there yet. They know about Christmas because that's the last news they got. So yeah.
Can I just say that when Sam is telling the story of how they met, and he goes on this like weird, like, he was like, every time I see her, she's speaking like a billion different languages. And then he mimics like 5 languages in one sentence. And he's like, ha, and it just like totally falls flat with everyone in the room. I was like, oh man, I felt that. I know that, bro. I get you.
I loved that. I actually really loved that character quirk of his is that it will show him try to make a joke and it just bombs. And I'm like, word. And like, and it had like a shot of her face, Rebecca, his girlfriend, and she's just like, dude, shut up.
Absolutely. She's like, you just said the most offensive thing in Swahili, and I can't even talk to you right now.
Yeah, she's like, I told you to stop doing this. The thing about Rebecca is she's genuinely nice. Like she's asking Kat questions about her life.
Yeah.
And at first I wasn't sure what the movie wanted me to feel, if the movie was trying to be like, wow, this bitch, how dare she exist? Because she's a woman. So how
Right.
many can we like in one movie?
I only have so much room for women.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, well, we already have 1.5. We have Kat and then Evie, who only really gets to be like a woman because she's hosting.
Yeah. And that's what women do, right?
They give birth and die. They
Yeah.
host, or they're a love interest. But Rebecca was like legitimately trying to ask Kat about her life. And Kat was I did actually really like this scene because it showed Kat getting in her own way. And so instead of making Rebecca into this villain, even though she's still kind of framed a little as like, oh, she's in the way.
Yeah.
It just shows like Kat is upset. She doesn't know what to do with her feelings. So her jealousy is kind of coming out, and then it's making her insecure and she doesn't really know how to be in the conversation. So she like lies like Rebecca's like, do you have boyfriends? She's like, tons of them, which I was like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not?
Yeah.
And then she just points at a random man who works at the furniture store, like this young guy. And then, of course, Sam's an asshole because he is a little pretentious asshole. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, oh, he looks like he could lift stuff. Like, that's not a bad thing.
Right. Oh no.
Oh,
You have
no, how,
strength.
God forbid, this guy knows how to carry furniture. Fuck you, man.
And you look like you can't, you fucking dick.
Yeah, exactly. He has very, like, I was a nerd once and I will never let go of that no matter how successful I become energy. And it's just like, go journal about it.
Absolutely. So Evie sees that Kat's all sad about Sam bringing a girlfriend. So she's like, yo, come get drunk with me in my office. Her office made me giggle because it's like this. The curtains, the drapes, the wallpaper were made to look like library shelves. And that was hilarious to me because she gives Kat a copy of Great Expectations off of this like bookshelf that had like 5 books on it.
Like, there's only 5 real books, but there's a bunch of fake ones on the wall.
There's thousands of fake ones, but I only have like 3 books to my name.
And also, I was so mad that Kat had never heard of Great Expectations. Like, it's
She's a
completely
townie.
right. Like, I was like, it's completely valid for her to have not read it. But the way that this movie presents it as like, here's this really niche book that's only part of the homework in most high school classes. like I don't need them to have a niche book, but the way
the way it's presented, it's like so
here's
rare.
this secret that I have, and I'm going to tell you about this character, Miss Havisham, and like her issues with love. And so I know that you're hurting and I understand. And then Evie is like, oh, by the way, I felt that way with your dad, which I was like, is that appropriate to tell her?
Yeah, she's like what, 23 or something, 24? Like,
yeah. She's just like, when I met your mom, I almost didn't like her, but then, you know, she was great. And it's like, well, she's dead now. So yeah, of course you like her now.
I fucking love her now. She's fucking dope.
She's
but
so chill.
If she had lived, I would have fucking hated that bitch.
Yeah,
but right
exactly.
now,
She's
so
like,
cool.
But now she's just this memory, and I get to comfort your dad. Your dad got really buff because of her. Now he lifts furniture all the time.
All right, so she goes downstairs, and Kat's like, "Yo, hot buff dude, let's get out of here." All right, age 25.
Age 25.
Oh.
This is when, of course, Kat, so basically hot buff dude and her dated for a while. And then he like, oh, okay, I need to read my favorite line from the movie.
Yeah.
Section of it. So I need to read it.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
Give the viewers / listeners some information. She's talking to her dad. Kat's talking to her dad about buff guy who is now no longer her partner. And she goes, he was in my house. He used my shower. Then he got on his bike and went to propose to her at the Steak and Shake. I fucking love that.
And he's like, what part do you have a problem with? The Steak and Shake, or it wasn't you?
Right.
Steak and Shake. It was the Steak and Shake.
If it had been Jack in the Box, I would have been fine. I'm not missing anything.
Give me Taco Bell all day, every day. Steak and Shake and get fucked.
I just thought that was so beautiful. Like, that detail just made it so funny. And also, we don't really get any more information. It's not like, oh, they've been dating steady for 2 years and he cheated on her. It's not like, oh, they broke up. Like, he broke up with her and then went and proposed. That ridiculous line is really the most information we get. And then we just know, like, well, he's kind of a douchebag. But I guess Edie still invites him because she invites everyone.
Well, yeah. The town has like 10 people in it. She has to invite everybody. Otherwise, it'd be a small party.
Also, she loves goss. Let's be real.
Yes. I thought you said goths. She loves those mopey guys.
That would make this movie so much better.
Right? For what I picked up from that sentence, basically, she's like, Dad, he fucked me and then he went and proposed to someone else because of the shower. And then later on, we find out that she doesn't move out of the house until like a year or two later. So she's telling her dad that she fucked this guy in his house and then he went and proposed to someone else. And I'm just like, ick. I'm not.
Yeah. I totally, that's such a good catch. because I did not actually make that connection with the timeline and where she lived. That is really funny.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, her closeness with her dad is sweet, but
But icky.
I mean, it comes up in the movie later, so it's sweet. It's just like, again, there's certain things my dad wouldn't be the person I'd confide certain details to.
Well, did your mom die when you were 4? Because
That's so true.
Mhm.
She did not. She is alive. She is a full person. So I wouldn't.
Oh, that's too bad.
I know. I'm not sure how to deal with that.
Sam, he shows up and he's on a computer because it's that time of
Computers are real now.
yeah. He's looking for a gift for Rebecca. His mom comes up.
In my opinion, this is the first time we really get to know his mom at all. And it's still not
Mhm.
about her, it's about him. But like, this is really the only time that we get to see her interact with him. And it's like, oh, right, that's his mom. Okay, that's who she is. And she's just like, honey, it's so good to see you. And he's like, oh, you're stalking me, mom. And it's like, dude, you're here one day a year. Let your mom talk to you.
Seriously. Come
Come
on.
on. And then she's just like, but I know you're supposed to be in London with Rebecca. Like, what's going on? He's just like, well, like, I know that Kat is going through it. And his mom and, Rebecca, it was her idea. And his mom's just like, you don't know anything about women. Like, she just said it was okay because she knew you were going to ask.
She said she gave you permission before you asked. And I'm slow sometimes. And that was really hard for me to work out in my head. She didn't want him to ask, so she gave him permission first, I guess is what she was saying.
Yeah, to me, it was like she was saying, oh, she didn't want to have to say no.
Mm,
And so she wanted to look good. So she preemptively said yes. Which, like,
mhm.
sure, and that's for sure a thing that does happen in relationships. But I also was kind of like, I think Sam is a dick in a lot of ways, but if she said that, it is valid for him to believe her.
Yeah, no, there's no reason for him to be like,
Yeah, I really hate that thing that is like very much in these kinds of movies that are like, well, women are like this and men are like this. And actually, what people say is fake. And
yes,
you need to like read their mind in this really hetero weird way. And I'm like, or you could just actually communicate. I don't know, man.
come on.
Like, he doesn't seem to be thinking about how Rebecca might feel. But also, if she is not telling him, it's not his responsibility to read her mind. Like, both are true.
Absolutely.
The idea of being neurodivergent or like processing different ways and communicating different ways is so like light years away from these movies.
Oh, yes, absolutely. But also, like, putting myself in Rebecca and Sam's situation. Overseas. It's Christmas. He's like, my partner is like, hey, my good friend that I talk to once a year is really going through it. And also, my family is there for Christmas because that's where they live. I'd be like, yeah, go see him. I don't fucking give a shit.
Yeah, same. I would either be like, go see them, or I'd be like, I can come again. Like, that was my other thing is that it's like, why doesn't she can come or she can go hang out with her family.
Yeah.
At this point, I think they were almost engaged or something. Like, they were very serious.
Right. And me giving that permission wouldn't have been like, you know what, you should actually just go for Kat. It would have been me
Yeah.
like, go see your family and friends. It's the holidays. Sure, why not?
And that's what I was thinking too. Like, even with his mom talking to him, I was like, is she just like resigned to the fact that her son wouldn't actually visit her? Because that kind of bums me out.
Mm-hmm.
That she's just like, obviously, you're here for the girl who's now a woman that you have known, that you've never dated, and you have only seen once a year for the last 5 years. Not for me and your father, who are very
No.
loving.
No. Fuck us.
Yeah, I was like, dang.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Asylum Case Studies. Special thanks to comedian Bronwyn Isaac and a very handsome and talented Andy Slater, our mixer and engineer extraordinaire. Make sure to visit us at asylumpod.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Spotify, or wherever, so you'll never miss a case study. While you're at it, if you found any bit of enjoyment in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. Unless you're going to be a dick, then no thank you. So until next time, I'm Tressa Slater, and does this belong to anyone?